What is happening, YouTube? How y'all doing today? It is Friday. Welcome to Friday. I'm Joe, just your average Joe, hanging out. We got pretty good sales to go over, so let's hang around, show off what we got there. We're gonna cover that. We also got some comments to go over, and we have some UPS post office, actually not UPS, a post office situation regarding my claim. So we're gonna tackle those today. This will probably be a little bit shorter video than normal because we don't have a ton going on, but appreciate y'all hanging out with me. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that. We're on our way to 600. We're at like 573, so we're knocking at the door. We're getting close. So if you haven't subscribed and you enjoy the content, please make sure you do that. Let's go ahead and dive in for the day and get through these comments. We don't have a lot, which is unfortunate because I like comments. But if you have questions about reselling, have questions about how anything works with reselling, anything with eBay, packing, promotions, customers, situations, whatever it is, I'm glad to help. I'm glad to talk about it, and I will address your questions on the next video. So drop them in the comments on this one, and then I'll make sure I touch on them on the next one. Probably will be Monday before I get the next video out. Obviously, I don't do a ton of videos over the weekend. I might go sourcing tomorrow. I haven't decided yet. My hamstring is feeling decent, so I might go sourcing tomorrow, possibly. We'll see. It's all supposed to rain tomorrow, so there may not be much going on. But anyway, hopefully you're doing well in your neck of the woods. Hopefully your sourcing is going well and your sales are going well. I finally had a little uptick, so we'll touch on that. But if you haven't been with me before, I've been reselling full time. Did I already say this? May have already said this. I can't remember. This is why it's raw and unedited here. But I've been reselling full time on eBay for 8 years, give or take. But been buying and selling on eBay since 2000, 24 years. So I've been around the block a few times, have a lot to offer. So anyway, any questions, comments, make sure you drop them. Let's go ahead and get started for the day. First question or comment comes from Mark. Mark says, this is response to, I think we just touched on a little bit on some political stuff, nothing specific because I really don't like to talk politics on here at all. I feel like this is a good avenue to kind of release and get away from all the craziness that's happening out in the world. But my dad won't stop talking trash about certain politicians that I like. Hard to deal with. I think I was talking about if your mom didn't raise you saying that you don't talk about politics, religion, and money in public, then you probably weren't raised quite right. And so I think that was in reply to that because I remember touching on that a little bit because I try to stay very general when it comes to politics stuff because that's the last thing I want on here is any politic garbage, to be honest with you. So, but yeah, so there's that. I understand, Mark, where you're coming from. Trust me, I get it. I've got family members that think one way and I think another. The one thing I will say, and I do want to touch on when it comes to, get out of here. The one thing I do want to say, and I do want to touch on when it comes to politics, is I just wish people were more open-minded. You can be a smart fellow, but if you're not open-minded to perspective, other people's views, have heart and compassion about how and open your ears and open your mind a little bit on how, because the world's not black and white, and have some perspective and understand and hear people out about their experiences and things that they go through and try to put yourself in other people's shoes. Still put you in the ignorant box because you got to be able to do those kind of things and be open-minded and not be entrenched, dead set in your ways, not listening to other people, not hearing other people out, not hearing out facts. We'd be in a such better place, in such a better political or our society would be in a much better place if we went more off of facts than emotions and feelings, right? B, we were more open-minded to other people's perspectives on life and things and ideas and ideologies and why they think a certain way about a certain topic and things like that. If we were just more open-minded about those kind of things and try to understand people, because there's so many situations that can happen in a certain topic that you may not even realize, and you're so dead set in your ways, but yet you hear a story from somebody that really kind of hits home, or you try to understand their perspective, and then it makes you think like, I didn't think about it that way. We should have more of that instead of just, you're the bad guy, you're wrong, I'm right, we don't like each other, and that's it. And so we can agree to disagree. You may not change my mind, but I can certainly have a better understanding where you're coming from and try to understand where why you feel or why you're so entrenched, or why you feel or have the opinion that you have. Because at the end of the day, they're all just opinions, man. Like, everybody's gonna have opinions on everything. What's better, Apple or Samsung? We'll sit here and argue to the blue in the face, man. And I'm not gonna change many people's opinions. They're just because they like Samsung and I like Apple, and that's just how it is. But I will hear somebody out why they like Samsung. They like it because blah 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 blah, and it can do this, that, the third, and blah blah. And they bring facts to the table. It's better this, and it does better that, and it's facts. Okay, I can understand that. At the end of the day, I still like Apple, but I get why you like Samsung, and I can understand why, maybe one day I'll try a Samsung out, kind of thing. But when it comes to politics, it's bad, man. You know what I mean? We're not open-minded to understand, and I'm just using Samsung and Apple just because that's a neutral, non-political thing, but it's like that for everything. Chevy or Ford, or this political topic or that political topic, and we just get so, like, we want to be right, and we're so not trying to even hear the other side, not even trying to understand the other side, not understanding that there's things that a Samsung can do that you didn't even have any idea about, that may make you scratch your head and be like, dang, I didn't know that, maybe I should try a Samsung. That happens with political stuff too. And so we're just so dead set in our ways now, and we're so quick to just bump heads and not like each other and be ugly and just want to be right. And 9 times out of 10, most folks don't even come with facts. They just come with feelings and their perspective of the world based off of their experience, but don't even consider where somebody else's perspective and their experience is. And that's why they think the way they think, and anyway, I just wish people were more open-minded, man. Because again, you can be smart, but you can be ignorant as hell too when it comes to stuff like that. If you're not open-minded and you're closed-minded, and you don't come with facts, and you don't know why that puts you in a ignorant category. I don't care how smart you are. Anyway, I'll keep it moving. I don't want to be on politics because that's not what this channel is about. But since we kind of touched on that, and again, it goes back to, didn't your mom teach you right? Like, number one, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. All right, that's what I've said before. And then another one is, you don't talk about religion, politics, and money in public. You can do it all day long with your family, friends, maybe even some of your coworker peers. Have a civil conversation and try to understand other people's perspective on things. But you don't talk about that stuff in public, man. And it's all over social media, which means people are just out there just throwing their opinions. 9 times out of 10, when I see stuff from people, it's filled with just emotion, opinion, and very little facts. So it's funny. I was watching something the other day on a kid that was getting interviewed, and the guy asked him why he was going to vote for a specific party, and he was just like, well, because I don't really know about politics, but because I'm this party, and that's why. And it's like, so you don't even know politics, you don't even really follow politics, you don't even really know anything about it, but because you're that party, you're just gonna just vote for that party. Like, that's pretty ignorant too, man. Like, if you don't know your stuff and you really don't know what's going on and you really don't have any skin in the game, but you're just going to vote for a party because that's who you claim, like, that's dumb too. That's the other issue with our society, is the fact that nowadays people just vote the party. Like, it doesn't matter that there's some of the things they think you don't agree with, but you probably don't even know because you're probably not that invested in that party. And so it's funny, you ever watch those videos where people get interviewed about a certain person in the party, and they say, did you know, would you vote for somebody that did this, that, and the third? And they don't disclose who the party is, and they're like, oh no, that's terrible, oh no, I don't. And then they're like, well, they ask them up front, I think, who their party is, and then they start asking them questions about, would you vote for a party or person that did this or thought that or da da da, and they're just like, no, and then they're like, well, did you know that X person is from that party? And they're just like, oh, then they backtrack, they backpedal. That's what's wrong with our society, is we don't even know what the fuck is going on half the time, don't even know what's even happening with the party, but we're that party, let's vote, we gotta vote for them. Anyway, that's enough of my politic rant for the day. Apple, Samsung, Ford, Chevy, look, we all want to be right, but you got to understand other people's perspective and why that Ford and why that Chevy, why that this, why that is the way it is, and understand other people. Try to understand other people's. You may not change your opinion. They may not but it opens your eyes to other perspective, understanding where other people come from, why they feel the way they feel, why they think the way they think, and why they have the opinion that they have. You may not change my opinion, and that's fine, but we can agree to disagree. We should have more of the agree to disagree and have the conversations and not get so mad and have so much hatred toward other people, because that's just, we're all people, man. We're all trying to get by, make a dollar, support our families. That's like the common goal, I think, for pretty much most people in the world, is provide for their family and just live a decent life, man. And so, you know, we can agree on that for the most part. So let's try to focus on that and not have so much hatred toward each other. This party, that party, this color, that color, this religion, that religion. Like, man, it's just rough, man. It's rough in these streets nowadays. So that's all. That's my rant for the day. I'll keep it moving, because again, I don't want to get into politics at all, anything specific for that matter, because that's not what this is about. But I just wish people were just more open-minded, cared more, understood perspective more. We're more just, you know, under trying to hear the other party out, or other person out, not party, but well, whatever, trying to hear out other to just gain better perspective and not be so ignorant, really, you know, and closed-minded. That's what a lot of this boils down to, is just there's a lot of closed-minded, ignorant folks out there. Anyway, G Nestor says, here's the first comment, Joe. Good deal. I appreciate you commenting and hanging out. He says, okay, nice. That's good to know on the shipping return. Thank you for another nugget, man. To follow up with that, actually, I'm glad you kind of touched on that and heard me on that. For folks that have not or didn't watch the last video, if you ever have a customer that, if it's worth it to you on a damaged item or any sort of return, if it's not worth it to you to do the return on it and you decide to just refund them for whatever it is, have them, make sure you tell them not to return the item, so you don't knock out another $10 for shipping to return it. That's, you know, what I was mentioning to on the last video, is I had that situation happen and I just told the customer, keep it. I'm gonna refund you. Don't send it back. It's not worth it. Just keep the item. A caveat to that, or a follow-up to that, if it's a damaged in shipping situation, make sure if it's damaged in shipping that you also follow up and do a claim with the post office. Now, here's my dilemma right now, and I've had this happen before, so this isn't my first rodeo, but I'm probably going to change my process going forward and see if this works going forward. So we'll see on the next one, whenever that ends up being. But basically, the post office, when you have a damage in shipping, pretty much is going to want to have it inspected. So of course, I didn't realize that, because it's been so long since I've done a damaged in shipping claim. So, and the item I'm talking about was a CD. It was a disc only game that I put in a case and then had bubble wrap around it, right? So, and then bubble wrap in it. And it showed up totally cracked. It was totally cracked in half. The disc was cracked in half and all that. So, I submitted the claim, and again, it's been such a long time. I've done one for damaged item. They want to inspect the item, and I knew that they did that, but I didn't realize they would do that on a small dollar item either, because the last time I did a claim like that, it was on a bigger dollar item, and my customer didn't have it anymore, and so they ended up tossing it. So I didn't have a chance to have it inspected, or have them take it in to have it inspected. So same thing that's happened now. This claim was put in. He put the claim in on me, or opened up a case on me like 2 weeks ago for this item. Well, I opened up a claim with the post office. The post office just sent me the letter. I got it yesterday, and I already had to refund the buyer, because eBay is only going to give you a certain amount of time before they're going to step in. So it's best to just refund the buyer, and then you deal with the post office. The only caveat to that is, and this is what I'm going to say going forward, how I'm going to handle it, and maybe anybody wants to chime in on this or give me their any ideas that they have, or any situations that they've had with damaged item and shipping and dealing with the post office. From now on, what I'm going to do, because he already tossed the item and I've already issued him the refund, and he already tossed the item. So that's what's going to happen, is your customer, once you give them the refund, they're going to throw it away, and that's it. So when the post office finally gets back to you, works your case, and says, hey, we want to inspect the item, what happens now? The customer doesn't have the item anymore to take to the post office. So what I'm going to do going forward, and tell me if I'm wrong or if I should do something different, but what I'm going to do going forward in the event that I have a damaged item is I'm going to submit the claim. You get a claim number with the post office, and then I'm going to ask my customer, can you go ahead and send that or take that back to the post office with this claim number, write it on the package or on a separate piece of paper or whatever, and hand that to the post office. If you need to talk to the postmaster general, whatever, but give it to the post office and let them know that the seller has submitted a claim, that in their experience, you guys are going to want to see the damage and see the item before they do anything on the claim. So here's the claim number. Here's the item. I was instructed to drop it off. Then once they drop it off at the post office, then issue the refund. Okay, so that helps you not have to, worry about stressing about the customer getting it to the post office after you've already given them a refund and or they've already thrown it away, right? Because again, once the customer gets their money back, 9 times out of 10, they're not very motivated to do anything for you at that point, no matter how good of a person they are. They're just not. You're at the bottom of their totem pole as far as the priority level. So before you issue the refund, take it to the post office, drop it off, claim number on it so it's attached to the item, and then from there you can deal with the post office. You can call that local post office if you need to and let them know, hey, you should have this item. Here's, this is the claim. Just want to make sure you guys have it, so that way when they tell me that they need to inspect it, you already have it. If you want to take it that extra step just to confirm, and then from there you issue the refund to the customer and you just keep it moving. And then all you can do is hope and pray that the post office is going to do the right thing. Now, I will say in my experience as well, post office is also going to try to get out of paying a claim by saying you improperly packed this item. So that's going to be the next scenario, is they're going to try to get out of it by saying you didn't pack it right, or it was in an inappropriate box, or whatever, the inappropriate type of whatever. So they're going to try to wiggle out of it still and not pay it. But either way, that's all you can do, at least that way. Because in my case, my claim now is going to be just totally denied. I don't have the customer already threw the item away. I just got the letter saying they need to have it inspected. So I'm just going to assume every time I do a damaged item that they're going to want to look at it. So that's how I'm going to handle it going forward. That's all I can do. That's it. So that's, again, if you guys want to chime in, give me your 2 cents on it, but that's kind of what I'm doing. I would probably say that's a pretty good way to handle it going forward. Luckily, it doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen occasionally. So there's that. I did get paid out on I got paid out on one of my missing item packages. And then the other one, they didn't pay it out because they said it was too long. And I was like, really? Come on, man. Like, really? So batting 1 for 3 with the post office, filing claims at this point. But hopefully I don't have to do another one for a while, because they're terrible to work with as far as that goes. They do not want to pay out those claims at all. So anyway, let's keep it moving. So hopefully that helps a little bit more, G Nestor, and anybody else that has this situation, and again, any of you experienced sellers, if you want to give me your 2 cents or give me your perspective or help me, I'm always open to learn. This is just what I'm going to do based on my experience, what I'm going to do going forward. Luckily, I don't have a ton of them, so hopefully I don't have another one for another year, hopefully, and we don't have to worry about it. But when the event it happens, and again, that's damaged in shipping is the scenario that I'm giving specifically, damaged in shipping. So G Nestor goes on to say, he's the first comment, and I already touched that one about the nugget. Thank you for the shipping return. Thank you for another good nugget. G Nestor also says, hey Joe, I think this is response to our doing full-time, selling full-time and all that kind of stuff. Is it worth it? He says, hey Joe, look, I sourced my way. Check it out. I have a regular job, 6 a.m. to 4 p.m., and then I have a part-time job, 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. On my first break, 30 minutes, 10 a.m., I go to Goodwill, is 2 minutes for my job. I scan everything in 20 minutes. I know where everything is. Then after work, on my way home, I stop to another Goodwill by my house, 20 to 30 minutes, scan. Not every day, even though there's people I go with the mentality that it could be something hidden. They're obviously, yeah, absolutely. There's Goodwills around where I'm at are not good at all. But unless you're niched into like jeans and clothes and things like that. But outside of that, there's not a lot of good stuff at our Goodwills. Like electronics suck, gaming sucks, everything else like is terrible. Shoes are not very good. Now, when they first bring the batch of stuff out, there's it's like flies on you know what I mean? And when they bring the stuff out, it's the regulars that just camp out there waiting for that. They're grabbing all the good stuff. So if there is anything good that's coming out, it gets grabbed quick. And I'm not that guy. I'm not camping out at Goodwill. But I do understand where you're coming from there. He says, have the mentality that there could be something hidden. And that's true. There's always things you can always find a thing or two. That is your facts. Then Saturday, I hit a few yard sales. After that, I load my listings. I leave some in the draft for the week. I have no time to list. Then Sundays, I hit the local flea market, sometimes two. And if I go to the store with my wife, I look in the clearance racks. If I if I sell something, I go straight home after work and pack it for the next day. The UPS lady goes to my work and picks up my package, and 30 more from work. And I do this routine every week. That's You've incorporated it in your full time, and that goes to show that you can do it and incorporate it with what you do, and it doesn't take a ton of time out of your schedule. So kudos to you, G Nestor. That's you're hustling, man. I'll say that you are hustling, my man. That kind of also combats the other guy that commented saying it's like impossible to do or whatever. Like, it's not, and you're doing it with two jobs. So absolutely appreciate you commenting and giving your insight. Goes to show it can be done even if you got full-time job. Absolutely. Justin Little says, thanks for sharing. Yes, digital content is bad for resellers. I personally don't buy digital games, but I think our kids' generation will. Yeah, well, yeah, our kids are. That's exactly all they do now. Is just let me see, on newest video. Okay. Yeah, that's exactly all the kids now. That's all they do is digital. They don't like hard copy stuff, and that's why I'm saying, like, I don't think it's going to hurt the resale market on the physical games, because I think it may end up helping the physical market over time as we continue, because there's only going to be certain ways to get the titles from back when as physical copies. So that may help the market. You know, it may be harder to find them and source them, but it's going to help the resale value of them, I believe. But I will say, all the digital content, man, it's just no way to transfer it from person to person. And that's all these kids do now is digital. They don't want anything physical. They want it all digital. They want a bigger hard drive so they can store more games. Well, you realize when you spend $1,000 on all those games, you can't get a dime back for them. So when you're done playing your PS4, PS5, Switch, whatever it is that you bought a ton of games on, or had your parents buy a ton of games on for that matter, you can't get any of them back. So maybe one day you'll pick them back up. You'll have them all still on your account. You can play them later, but at the end of the day, you can never get any money out of them unless they change the industry and how digital media is transferred. And then you can buy and sell digital media, you know, where I can transfer it through my account to someone else's account for, you know, whatever we decide on price, like, you know, whatever it is, let's say $15 for a game. And then it comes with a key. It's encrypted. It's only good for one download or whatever to the next user or something like that. So eventually, I would imagine at some point it's going to become a bigger issue. It's going to become something that these, you know, Xbox and Sony and Nintendo are going to have to figure out, because I can't imagine that once it goes all digital, that people are just going to be cool with just like, I can never resell any of my stuff, and or they're going to have to come down on their pricing, because it's ridiculous that you spend $60 for a game and then there's no way you can even get 5, 10, 15 bucks back out of it, especially if the market says the physical copy. Because that's the crazy thing, is the physical copy of games, like the Minecrafts I just sold for $17 or whatever yesterday. I think if you go on the Xbox and you try to download that one, it's like $20 or $25 or $30 or whatever. So that's why somebody probably bought it from you physical copy, because it's cheaper to buy it through physical than it is to just download it from Xbox still. So they got to either come off them prices, because they're going to be all digital. And as we all know, it don't cost them but pennies to have somebody download a digital copy of something, because there's no physical cost at that point to have to manufacture and put the game out anywhere. It's on their platform already to just download. So, you know, the prices got to come down if they're not going to allow people to transfer those games digitally. So we'll see where it goes. That's something that's going to happen down the pipe, you know, 5-10 years down the pipe, I think, as these companies start doing digital only and there's no physical games anymore, because that's going to happen. That's why right now every system pretty much has a digital version and a disc version. Eventually it's just going to be disc. I think Sony already said, or Xbox or something, one of them already said the next version of system that it's all digital only. So once we get to that point, I'm sure those conversations and those disputes and those concerns will come up more and more and more, and will put pressure on those companies to do something, whether it bring the pricing down so it's more fair, because you can't resell it, or whether they give some sort of digital key where you can resell that digital content 1 time, 2 times, whatever, to someone else through their account only. So it's got to go from account to account kind of thing. And it's all done through Sony or Xbox, and it's done through their platforms where you sell it, however you, well, technically it's not a sale on Sony's eyes because they're not going to get any money out of it. But you and the buyer, you put it up as a digital key or something, and you own it, that intellectual property of the game, and then you're able to transfer it through Sony to someone else's account because you did the transaction with somebody else between you and that party. Kind of like on Marketplace. Somebody puts on Marketplace, I got 3 digital games I want to sell, this game, that game, that game, and it's cheaper than what you can get through Sony Direct. Somebody buys it. Well, now that Sony has to have the ability to do a transfer of that game to one account to another. That's going to have to be a process at some point. Again, anybody want to touch on that that's a gamer and want to enlighten me? I don't know. I haven't looked up any articles or know where that's going, but I do know that eventually it's going to be all digital content. So that's all of the comments for today. Let's go move over to sales. And I've already touched on that UPS situation, so we're pretty much tackled that. So we'll just touch on these sales. So we had a whopping 6 sales for $800.92. Woo! Big day, big day. That's between yesterday and today. So 6 sales for $800.92. So the first thing that sold was Red Dead Redemption on PS4. Sold for $17 free shipping. Red Dead Redemption. And then we sold Tack. Let's see. Where's the other one at? Gotta be this one. Yep. So it's a 3-pack Tack, however you say it. On GBA, sold for $17 plus shipping. So that's these 3 games. I bundled them together because it was all the same title, the Tack games. So all those sold for $17 plus shipping in one lot. Red Dead Redemption sold for $17 free shipping. It does have the map, but no manual. Then we had 3 huge items sell yesterday. About time some of my big items sell, man, because man, it's been rough, man. It's rough in these streets sometimes. I have quite a few big items left, but it was nice to get some big sales. So if you watched yesterday, you know this thing sold while we were live, but it didn't have to go out till today. So the first thing is the Sony. This is old new stock. Sony compact disc. I think these used to come in like the Fords, the CD changer. If any of y'all are familiar with the old school CD changers. So there's that. That sold for $289 plus shipping on that. $289 plus shipping. Next thing that sold was a Nikon Cool Pick. I think I picked that up for like $30-$40 at a yard sale early this season. I think back in like March is when I picked that up. This, believe it or not, I picked up at a there's a few pawn shops in the area that post on Marketplace, and they posted the Cool Picks water resistant Nikon. I think it was like $60, and I looked it up and I was like, holy cow, are they kidding? So it's complete, pretty much brand new. It's got all the stuff in it. Sold for $225, and again, I think I picked it up for like $60, maybe $50. Might have been $50. But it was a great pickup. Surprised that a pawn shop did that, but when they're in it for like $10, I guess they still made money too. But I'm pretty sure I picked that up for like $50, $60. But sold for $225. The next thing is a remote, Wii remote. My last one. These Wii remotes go pretty quick. So if you ever come across these Wii remotes, they're not super expensive, but $11 plus shipping on that one. So they do get a ton of traction on them. And then the last thing was PS4. The guy that bought the PS4 on Tuesday that said he would check out on Friday, he actually checked out. So it was $130 plus shipping, and it was for the limited edition Uncharted PS4. So I got to find it now. PS4 Uncharted. PS4 blue. Oh. Right there. All right. So PS4 blue Let me not trip over that. So this is the Uncharted edition. I'm not going to pull it out of the box or anything, but the Uncharted edition, it's clean, nice condition. I've had this for, I think I picked it up with a bunch of games for like $80, and I had a bunch of games with it too. I was probably over the winter. I do remember that was over the winter. It was cold when I picked that up. So maybe November, January, December, sometime around early this year, late last year. So it's been sitting for a while, but finally sold 130 plus shipping. So I made a few bucks on it. And then, like I said, it came with a bunch of video games with it as well. I think an extra controller. So I've already sold the controller, already sold the game. So that's the nice thing when you pick up systems. A lot of times you can pick them up with a bunch of games. So like the last systems I picked up was a PS3 Slim with the sliding door, and a PS4 with the camo version. They both work. It was $175. I'll be able to sell the PS3 for, like, believe it or not, the sliding door PS3, I always get probably $150 for them, give or take, $130 to $150 for them every time. So that's going to almost make up the cost. It had 3 extra controllers. All the controllers are going to sell for $20 a pop. So there's my money back there. Still, we'll be able to sell the PS4. And then it came with a stack of PS3 and PS4 games, which I've already sold a couple of those already. The Minecraft was one of them, or both of them actually. I kept a couple of them as well. There were some pretty nice titles. There was like a $30 title. It was a horror game. I forget the name of it. But anyway, kept a couple of them, but had a stack of like 25-ish games that came with it for all the 175. So a lot of times you nickel and dime all the games, which makes up a lot of the 175. The controllers make up some of the 175, and then you're almost in the green at that point. So picking up bundles with games and controllers, I like doing it. I'll just say that. So that's it, guys. Again, 6 sales for $800.92. Big day. I'm anticipating having a very bad day because I had such a good day between yesterday and today. Hopefully I can at least do $200 between today and tomorrow. But you guys will find out on Monday. Typically I don't jump on the weekends, so I'll be back on Monday with between sales between now and then. So we'll see how we shake over the weekend. I think right now I'm sitting right at around $1,200 to deposit. So we're right at goal. Pretty much knocking on the door. Normally my weekends go pretty good, so I should be able to smash the goal, hopefully, which we haven't smashed goal in a while. So, hopefully, let's knock on wood. Hopefully I don't jinx myself. But that's where we're at. So if you don't know, my goal is 200 a day or 1,400 for the week. And again, right now I'm sitting at like 1,271 to deposit. Now that's not including shipping all this out. So that's probably going to cost me about 60-ish bucks to get all this stuff out. So again, we're sitting on about $1,200-ish to deposit, which is nice. And I still got the rest of today, Saturday, Sunday, part of Monday before it cuts off my sales to deposit for the next day, or for the next payout. So anyway, because my week basically on eBay starts over on Tuesday, really like Monday. So all those sales don't actually go into my deposit for Tuesdays. But that's all I got for y'all. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see y'all on the next one. Later, everybody.